Hello children, today let us learn the ninth standard English lesson, 3 questions. The 3 questions is a story written by Count Leo Tolstoy. It is the story of a king who has 3 questions and he is seeking answers to them. He had a thought that he would never fail in life if he knew 3 things. The 3 things were: what was the right time to begin something? And the next one is, whom should a king consider the most? And the third question is, what is the most important thing for a king to do? Many wise men came to the king, but they all answered his questions differently. In reply to the first question, some said that the king must prepare a timetable and then follow it strictly. Others said that the king should do whatever seemed necessary at that time, and so on. In their answer to the second question, some said that the people most necessary to the king were his counselors. Others said that priests, doctors, and soldiers were the most necessary. To the third question, some said attack, others said fight, and yet others religious worship. The king was not satisfied with their answers because the answers to his questions were so much in variance. So he went to meet a hermit. Hermit means a religious person, devoted person, we can say, who was famous for his wisdom. The hermit was digging the ground in front of his hut. He greeted the king and continued digging. King told the hermit the purpose of his visit. The hermit listened to the king but did not speak. King took pity on the hermit and started to help him in digging the ground. But whenever he asked his questions, the hermit gave no answers. It was getting dark, and the king stuck the spade into the ground and said to the wise man, I have not got any answers for my questions. Now I will return home. When the king started to go back, they saw a bearded man running towards them. His hands were pressed against his stomach, from which blood was flowing. When he reached the king, he fainted and fell on the ground. King and the hermit dressed his wound to stop the bleeding. The man closed his eyes and lay quiet. King also lay down on the floor and slept through the night. In the morning, the bearded man pleaded with the king to forgive him. King did not know who he was. The man said that he knew the king. He was an enemy of the king, had sworn revenge on the king because the king had killed his brother and seized their property. He had made up his mind to kill him on his way home, but the king's bodyguard recognized him and wounded him. He escaped from him. He would have died if the king had not dressed his wound. King had saved his life, though he had made a plan to kill him. He promised the king that he would serve him as the most faithful servant. The king was very happy to have made peace with his enemies so easily and to have won him over as a friend. He not only forgave him, but he promised the man to give back his property. Later, the king went up to the hermit and requested the hermit to answer his questions. Hermit said that the king had already been answered. So the king asked the hermit, "What do you mean by that? I have answered." Hermit gave clarification for the king's pity on hermit and beard man is helping nature in time, doing good to hermit and the wounded man. The hermit told the king that there is only one time that is important, and that time is now. It is the most important time because it is the only time when we have any power to act. Further, he told the king that the most necessary person is the one with whom a person is at that particular moment. The most important business is to do good to that person because we are sent into this world for that purpose alone. Thus, the hermit answered the questions of the king. The king became happy and returned back to his kingdom. Let us learn the meanings of some words. Messenger means a person carrying a message. Council, group of people chosen to give advice. Hermit is a religious person or a devoted person or a person who lives alone and leads a very simple life. Woods means a small forest. Affairs about things, matters or business. Beds means a small patches of ground for plants. Spade is a tool for digging. Painted, lost consciousness. We can say giddiness. Seized, took by force. Faithful, loyal or true. Fatally, very seriously. Now let us learn about the author of this lesson. The author of this lesson, Three Questions, was Count Leo Tolstoy. He was born in the year 1828 and died in 1910. He was from Russia. He was a novelist and a philosopher, and he was one of the world's greatest writer. And War and Peace was his greatest novel. He had the ability to write stories, narrating capabilities, and even today, whole world remember him. Thank you, children. Kindly read the lesson and revise it.